That moment when your phone dies and you are just sitting by yourself in a quiet room, there is this like immediate itch.
Oh, yeah, totally. A
Yeah.
sudden, almost physical discomfort in your chest, honestly.
Right. The silence suddenly feels super heavy, and it is not just boredom creeping in. It actually feels like a low-level emergency.
Yeah, your brain just starts buzzing.
Exactly. And that feeling is exactly what we are tackling in today's deep dive into excerpts from the Stoic Shield. Specifically, the section on mastering solitude against manipulation.
It is such a fascinating read.
It really is. We are unhacking why our brains basically panic the second we are left completely to ourselves, and how reframing that solitude actually builds an inner castle.
Right, which is basically a psychological defense system that protects you from being controlled by others.
So before we can build that shield, we have to look closely at the vulnerability itself, right? Like, why do we freak out?
Well, to build that defense, yeah, we have to understand it. The text points out that this discomfort really comes down to evolutionary wiring.
Right.
I mean, the modern human brain constantly confuses the state of simply being alone with the much more dangerous threat of being abandoned.
Oh, wow, abandoned. That is a pretty big leap.
Well, think about it. For our ancient ancestors, being separated from the tribe did not just mean, a lonely Friday night. It literally meant certain death.
Okay, so we are essentially walking around with a broken biological smoke detector in our heads. Like, it is screaming that the house is burning down, but really we're just sitting on the couch without our phones.
That is exactly it, yeah. Your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, is reacting to a survival threat that just isn't actually there in the modern world.
Because nobody is getting chased by a tiger in their apartment.
Exactly. But the problem is that this biological false alarm creates a massive behavioral loophole.
Because if your brain thinks being alone means dying, you develop this deep-seated fear of losing social validation, right?
Right.
Which is really the root cause of chronic people-pleasing.
Yeah. And the Stoic Shield delves into how toxic people specifically weaponize that fear of abandonment. They know your internal smoke detector is incredibly sensitive.
Wait, they weaponize it, like, consciously.
Oh, absolutely. If they withdraw attention or threaten to leave, even subtly, like leaving you on read or giving you the silent treatment, your panic response kicks in.
Oh, man, yeah. You
Uh,
will do almost anything to quiet that alarm down.
exactly.
You compromise your boundaries, you agree to favors you hate, all just to maintain their approval and feel safe again. They are literally holding your biology hostage.
Which brings us to the countermeasure. I mean, if manipulators rely on your fear of being alone, you basically disarm them by conquering that fear.
And that is where the Stoicism comes in, right?
Right. The text turns to the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus. His core insight was that a person who is at peace with themselves is never actually alone. They are in good company.
I love that. That completely shifts the paradigm. So, solitude stops being this empty room where you have been abandoned, and it transforms into a literal shield.
Yes, the inner castle. Once you realize you do not need external validation to physically survive, the lever manipulators use to control you is completely gone. You become untouchable.
That sounds like an incredible superpower, but like, how do you actually forge this stoic shield in real life?
So the text outlines this process called the Solitude experiment. You are supposed to spend exactly 1 hour completely disconnected.
Okay, like no internet.
No internet, no phone, no communication whatsoever. Just observing your thoughts without reacting to them.
Wait, 1 hour of just sitting there? I mean, that sounds like absolute torture on paper.
It is pretty intense at first.
Because if I put my phone away for 10 minutes, my brain starts racing with a million anxieties. How is that supposed to make me feel safe?
It is deeply uncomfortable, yeah. But the text explains the underlying mechanism here. It is actually a form of exposure therapy.
Oh, okay.
By forcing yourself to sit through the discomfort of your own unedited thoughts, you are actively retraining your amygdala.
You are letting the smoke detector blare until the brain finally realizes there is no actual fire.
Exactly. You observe the panic, you watch it peak, and then you just watch it fade. You realize the silence will not actually harm you. That is how the fear loses its grip.
So mastering solitude transforms you. You go from someone desperate for the validation of others into someone entirely secure within that inner castle.
Right, you finally learn that the fear driving you was just an evolutionary glitch all along.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over. If manipulators rely entirely on your fear of being unliked to control you, what specific relationships in your life might completely lose their power over you once you finally learn to enjoy your own company?